Live from London, it is Car-Boyz. We are live. Hello one and all. Hello London.
Hello.
Hello the world. This is the show without the stars, but definitely with the cars. We return to your screens with another episode. We're still locked down here in the British capital, but like a Kardashian, it's a big but. We will keep the world of cars, keeps motoring on and on. Did you like what I did there with the Kardashian?
Yes.
The big.
Yeah.
I used to use J-Lo, but it's not very. It's a bit 20th century, so I'm now moving on.
Down with the kids.
Down with the kids. Kim Kardashian and her big butt, which actually looks like she's wearing a nappy these days. I think she might have gone too far on the butt increases. Coming up on the show this week, we've got all the news that's not fit to print in the news. We're going to be delving into your correspondence in the part of the show we like to call the mailbag, and we have an overlooked 4x4 from the Far East in our classic car selection. A rising star from the land of the rising sun, you could say. There you go. So stay tuned for that. Joining me as usual is our resident Tottenham Hotspur and Ford fanatic, Simon, who's way up north.
Up north, exactly. But then again, it's still south of the Watford Gap, but north nonetheless. And heaven forbid we annoyed anyone, either the southern or the northerners.
No.
Because that's what we do on the show, just annoy everyone. And we have so few viewers anyway.
Both of them will be annoyed.
Yeah. We have a great show that is on the way for you today with somewhere exciting and international and exotic in our Lost Highway section of the show. And we have a great quiz to test your motoring knowledge. This week, it's back. It's the Car-Boyz pub quiz.
Oh, nice.
Which we haven't been to the pub in a while. So
yeah, about a year.
Yeah. And we'll also be asking the age-old question of who's the person that cuts everybody up on the inside lane? Hold on a minute. I think that's the Audi drivers.
It is the Audi drivers. Used to be BMW, but now it's Audi. Yes.
Absolutely. So stay tuned for all of that and more. And I'm Simon Sujuan. And hey, you, get ready, get on your feet, get into gear, hit streets, get moving. It's not too far. You're looking good, so come as you are. I can't do it as fast as the program. You'll never know what you'll see when you look through the door. It's 73.
Yes, of course. Simon Sujuan there, the show's very own Sandi Toksvig. Slightly more effeminate, though, which isn't hard. Of course, that was the song from the 1980s kids' TV show, number 73. And this is our 73rd episode, and we don't look a day or sound a day over 2. I'm Richard Green, and a sunny day sweeping the clouds away. On my way where the air is sweet, can you tell me how to get to Sesame Street? I thought if we were going for kids TV programs, that's quite an obvious one. Before I start on my rant, I have a new sponsor for the show. It's COVID Gone, a new vaccine for a new generation. COVID Gone. Side effects may include HIV/AIDS and the Black Death. But it tastes new variant resistant, but it's good. Clean, I'll soon be able to go out to a pub and enjoy myself. Time now on the show for Richard's rant. It's when I take.
By the way,
sorry,
this
go
is
on.
Car-Boyz. This is Car-Boyz.
Oh, sorry, we haven't said it. This is Car-Boyz. Welcome to the show. Yes, time now, my show. Thank you for the introduction. For Richard's rant, it's when I take a sideways view of the world from my own weird, and I would argue warped perspective. Unlike other sections of this podcast, this will not be an open debate. Who am I kidding? It's going to be a benign dictatorship, and I shall rule unchallenged as El Presidente, El Jefe, and bar the little black moustache, the Führer. This week, I've been thinking about how common sense is not so common. I say this because a senior official from the British Police Force has told the government that the smart motorway system is inherently unsafe and should be banned. Dr. Alan Billings, PCC for South Yorkshire, has written to the government saying the abolition of the hard shoulder should be abandoned before more people die. In a letter to Transport Secretary Grant Shapps, I guess she had to do it in big letters for him, Dr. Billings accused Highways England of trading driver safety for lowering costs and using flawed logic to justify smart motorways. That was reported by the Telegraph newspaper. It comes days after a coroner ruled that the deaths of two men on the M1 near Sheffield was in part due to turning the hard shoulder into a live lane. Highways England has been seduced by false comparisons to increase the number of lanes and a traffic flow at lower cost than if on a hard shoulder had been built, Dr. Billings had claimed. He says that while travelling on the M1, anxiety and tension, they always find there is anxiety and tension on the M1, and are increased due to fears of breaking down in a live lane with heavy goods vehicles approaching you from behind. Of course, so if you are listening from abroad, in England, we usually have 3 lanes on a motorway, sometimes 4, but mostly 3. That's the German way of saying 3. And then we have a 4th lane, and that's the hard shoulder. So if you break down, you pull into that lane and you telephone for help and you get out your car. And the worst case scenario, if a lorry comes along, you're not in your car and hopefully shouldn't be going into the back of you. Now, the final statement that smart motorways are safer than conventional ones doesn't ring true, according to the Department of Transport. Turning the hard shoulder lane that's supposed to be for broken down cars into another lane is, in my view, the craziest thing I've ever heard of. Even my 5-year-old son would question, well, Daddy, where are the broken cars supposed to go? Well, maybe they could all break down and go onto the Transport Minister's lawn, Grant Shapps. They could all break down in front of his house. Then there's the great idea with smart motorways, of course. I'll show you a smart motorway. There's an example, not so smart one. Don't know where we're heading there. The north, up north. Of course, this is the M1, and you've got 1 lane, 2 lane, 3. And the 4th lane, rather than being a lane to break down on, is now also being used for traffic. So also with smart motorways, and they do this in Birmingham, is they change direction. They sometimes have the lanes flowing depending on which way the rush hour is, which does sound good. Apart from the fact that the central reservation or the median strip in America is now removed, and what stops traffic from ploughing into each other at 70 miles an hour. All it is a little red cross on the gantry above the motorway. Now, back in the 1980s, I remember watching a documentary with this technology. I was watching it with my father, and it showed the motorway bridge linking the island of Singapore to mainland Malaysia, and how they would block off lanes getting in or out of the island depending on how busy the rush hour was. It's always been cheaper to live in Malaysia and commute into Singapore by car. I remember my father looking at this and saying, how dangerous is that? They have no central reservation. Someone falls asleep or has a heart attack, they could kill loads of drivers. Well, I thought, he's right, and I guess I still believe that. Motorways are busy. There is no smart way of making them less congested, apart from supplying the British public with a decent, cheap transport system so they don't use their cars. But that's too expensive, and the government won't do that, will they? Any thoughts?
It all comes down to expense. So they don't want to widen the motorways. So
Nope.
they've taken away that lane.
Yeah.
Hard shoulder. They've closed off most of the hard shoulder, and they've just got tiny little lay-bys, which if the car breaks down, you can't plan that you're going to get your car.
You've got to try and get in there.
Section. Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one in that picture. It's like that just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is. You're absolutely right. It is about expense.
And the one that I'm thinking of in Birmingham, I think, is on the M6, and it does change as you go into Birmingham, which sometimes it'll 3 lanes will be open with green ticks or green X's, and then a red X over here, and you're like, but there's no central reservation.
Yeah.
If somebody has a heart attack or passes out and goes, at least cars coming the other way are protected because of the central reservation, the median strip. If that's gone, you're absolutely knackered. But yeah, you're right. It's all about making it as cheap as possible. What I have noticed recently, and maybe it's just me, there are more idiots on the road as well, because people don't seem to be able to pull into the hard shoulder anyway. I hit traffic probably, I think it was over the summer when we were finally allowed out. Really busy on the M40, and suddenly I noticed that a car had stopped in the fast lane, and everybody in that car was stood on the central reservation.
Mm.
I mean, when your car, I've had it, the car just dies. I had an alternator
Yes.
die on me in
Yeah.
my. I was really lucky. It was my Ford Escort, and I didn't have a mobile phone. And that car the power just cuts, and I'm coming up to Prince's Risborough on the M40, and I
Yeah.
thought, right, I'll turn off here, under the motion of completely dead car, round a roundabout, straight into a pub car park, right next to a telephone box. Very lucky. But I still managed to. I mean, even if I had just managed to pull into the hard shoulder, there would have been. But yeah, I noticed this group of there were a bunch of teenagers had let the car stop in the fast lane, which I was very shocked about. And I've seen it happen before. I'm thinking, dude, if the power goes in your car, just pull it onto the hard shoulder. The problem is if is hitting that, and if that's only going to be what every half a mile. Good luck with actually hitting that. You'd be better deal to try and get your car off the exit if the car is still moving.
I think it's actually bigger than that. I think it's about a mile between each of those.
Brilliant.
Those gaps.
Absolutely genius. No, it doesn't make any sense. It's like we're going backward, and you're asking asking people to give up something that really is a mainstay. And there's always these stories of truck drivers falling asleep and wandering, and and trucks wandering into the hard shoulder and hitting cars. That's why you're always told, if you're on the hard shoulder, get out your car, get up the side of the embankment until the breakdown service comes, just in case somebody accidentally swoops into the hard shoulder and hits your car. But yeah, utter madness, usual thing from the government. Talking of which, we have some news.
Yes, let's go for some news. And first off, in Asian, Mr. Bean forced to take U-turn news. There he is. Lockdown cycle lane. Oh, sorry, you got the right picture.
No. Should I leave? Is this the way to the front door? That face says. Is that the exit? Yeah, that's the exit. Oh, that way. Yes, it is. Goodbye.
That may all change in May. Lockdown cycle lanes could now be ripped up, according to across the UK, after the High Court ruled that Sadiq Khan's street space scheme was unlawful. The controversial project, which saw roads closed and others narrowed to create new cycle lanes in the height of lockdown last year, was found to be seriously flawed by a High Court judge. The ruling means similar schemes implemented by councils up and down the country could now be scrapped, a lawyer in the case revealed. However, bosses at Transport for London, TfL, who described the ruling as disappointing, insists that they will keep the makeshift cycle lanes while they appeal today's damning judgment. It comes after Justice Lang ruled that London's street space scheme was seriously flawed and took advantage of the pandemic to push through radical and permanent changes to London's roads. The judgment follows a legal challenge by organisers representing black cab drivers who are angry because they are being banned from new bus-only routes on the A10 in Bishopsgate. I know the A10 very well. In addition to cycle lane, street space, which was put in place last May, saw implementation of bus gates, banned turns and restricted access to streets in low traffic neighbourhoods across London with the aim of encouraging walking and cycling. They also put cameras up on there as well. So,
yes, they did.
To catch you that way. The judge in the case noted that denying taxis access to London's roads could have severe consequences for passengers who cannot walk, cycle or use public transport, and that the needs of people with protected characteristics, including the elderly and disabled, were not considered. This is probably the most craziest scheme.
Here's a bus in the snow of recent picking up his only passenger. I like that.
I know where that is.
Do you?
That's on North Circular in Palmer's Green.
You're familiar with the kebab shop, but I think that is
Yes,
the kebab shop.
That's how I know.
And this is Euston, which the cycle lane's not being used at all.
Yes.
I work up in Chiswick, and the main Chiswick Road, High Street, that takes you up to Goldhawk Road.
Yeah.
They have narrowed it. It was always 2 lanes, 1 lane, 2 lanes, 1 lane, 2 lanes, 1 lane, which was great because as the buses went down slower, you could just go around the buses every set of lights you got to. Now it's all 1 lane, and the thing is crawling at a standstill. And I did some work up in Chiswick the other day, and I finished relatively late, but it was at a weekend, so it's like 7 o'clock on a Saturday. and you would think because when none of the bars and restaurants open, it would be no. The traffic was solid because it's all down to one lane. So every time a bus needs to stop, it stops. It can't pull in because you've created these new cycle lanes. So it just stops, and everybody has to wait for the bus, and then it goes off again. So and there's a lot of buses down there.
All this is doing is pushing the traffic off the side streets onto the main road where it's gridlocked, causing more pollution because the cars are barely moving.
Yes. So we'll all look for more rat runs to do.
Yes.
And I think I went on about it last week. There's more and more traffic work's been going on at the moment because they think we'll get it in because we're coming up to the end of the financial year in March and we want to spend as much money as possible. And there's less people driving because of COVID. But it does feel like I came back. There's roadworks near me on the A316 coming out of London, going onto the M3, which is the major route out of London if you are heading to the southwest of the country. And it's down to one lane, and it felt like an ordinary rush hour, even though there's hardly any cars. So yes, here he is.
I was going to say there's one road that I drive down.
Is the exit that way? Sorry,
Kensal Rise, Kensal Green, somewhere like that. And there's 3 sets of roadworks that sprung up in the last week or so.
All I assume incredibly essential. So essential that between there's only people on these roadworks between sort of 10 and 2.
Yeah.
The rest of the time they're just dead. I often see it as a place where Irish road companies can just dump their crap rather than taking it back to the depot.
Yeah.
So I think this face will be gone in May. I think
and replaced with this one.
Oh no! Who have we got? Yes! Ha! You couldn't do any worse a job. As opposed to this silly man. Goodbye. Meanwhile, in Ford comes a cropper in court news. Ford is going to recall 3 million cars after an airbag inflator ruptured, injuring 400 people and killing 27 worldwide. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration on Tuesday ordered Ford to recall, rejecting a bid by the second largest US automaker to avoid it. The recall has come at a cost of, wait for it, $610 million to Ford. The defect, I should say, which in rare instances leads to airbag inflators rupturing and sending potentially deadly metal fragments flying, prompted the largest automotive recall in US history, affecting more than 40 million cars. Worldwide, 100 million inflators installed by 19 major automakers have been recalled. Earlier this month, the NHTSA Auto Safety Agency said that at least 17 million vehicles with the, let me get it right, Takata, or Kaka, they should be called Kaka, the Takaka airbags remain unrepaired. 18 Americans have died by exploding airbags. In April 2016, Huma Hanif was fatally struck by the airbag inflator, which exploded with too much force, blowing apart the metal canister and sending shards of metal and plastic into her neck. That's the dash. So you see the airbags exploded, but you can actually see there's holes in the airbag as well. So the canister has blown up as well, sending shards and killing that person. In another case, Carlos Solis was almost decapitated when a piece of metal flew into his neck when the airbag blew in his 2002 Honda Accord, deployed in a minor crash in Texas in 2015. Honda Accord, you think, is the safest vehicle out there, really. His vehicle had struck another vehicle at the entrance to a parking lot in Houston. The driver's airbag deployed, and a piece of metal struck him in the neck, killing him. It's not just Ford, though. In Florida, as we've just said, we've had Honda Accord there. Stephanie Erdman's life changed forever when she lost part of her vision after a minor accident in a 2002 model Honda. Her Civic crashed in Pensacola, and the airbags deployed, but the driver's inflator blew apart, sending metal fragments into her eye and face. Ford separately disclosed it expects to record a pre-tax remeasurement loss of 1.5 billion in the fourth quarter related to pension and other post-employment benefits plans driven by lower discount rates and lower sales. Now, Ford, so it was the, let me get it right, Takata? Yeah, it was the, Takata airbag. Now, they're in the Ford, but so here we go. So listen out, and you can rewind this and just check that you haven't got one of these. 2001 to 2003 Honda and Acura containing the Alpha airbags. Ford Ranger, 2006. 2006 Mazda B Series. 2001 to 2002 Honda Civic. 2001 to 2002 Honda Accord. 2002, 2003 Acura TL. 2002 Honda CR-V, which I think was our classic car of the week last week. 2002 Honda Odyssey. 2003 Acura CL. 2003 Honda Pilot Certain. Certainly's got an exploding airbag. 2006 Ford Ranger. Ford advises you do not drive that car. Certain 2006 Mazda B Series. Do not drive those either. That's just in the States. So make sure, have a look at online. If you've rewind what I've just said and just check that you're not driving one of those cars. I would have hoped it would have been recalled, and I'm going to think the recall has already happened on my wife's car. Was an airbag problem.
Okay.
I think that happened. She got a letter from Honda, but she drives a 2004 Honda.
Right.
I think the letter's been sent out, but if you've bought, maybe it was sent out, somebody, the way cars can change hands really fast, just go and check online and write the age of your car, the year of your car, the model, and then ... airbag issues.
Yeah.
And if it's
been a recall, they'll fix it for free.
Yeah, they will. In the UK, totally fixed for free. What I want to know is who are making the airbags. Is this the provisional IRA? Is it the same? Is it a company that's based in Afghanistan that make IEDs? IED, and we also do the airbag. So yeah, no problem. We put them in the car.
Unbelievable. You expect it to save your life, not cause more.
It's just it. I think that the trouble is it's box ticking, isn't it? It's just we have to have this thing in the car because, and we will try and make it as badly as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on, in Drivers Go Poor whilst council stays rich news, cash-strapped councils in England made a profit of almost, how much do you think?
Oh, I would say £8.26.
A bit more than that, £900 million last year, nearly £1 billion through parking charges and penalty fees, according to analysts of the latest figures. The bumper income will fuel concerns that motorists and shoppers are being used as cash cows, not cash guys, by local authorities to improve their finances. Council has made the collective surplus of £891 million in the last financial year relating to parking, the RAC Foundation analysts shows. Figures for 2019-2020 show that 338 local authorities made a combined profit.
At least you're trying to defend him there, Simon. So, sorry, that wasn't you.
Oh no, he's got the same airline as me.
Yeah.
2.44 million every day, or £28 a second. Good money if you can get it. Consumer groups have warned that the UK's 37 million drivers are being unfairly penalised through parking charges that could also hit struggling high streets, dissuading motorists from visiting, which is pretty evident in most areas, particularly around London. The council surplus for 2019-2020 measured until the end of financial year at the start of April was £43 million. It was £43 million fall on the previous year. So which councils are the worst offenders? Which councils take the most from the motorist pockets? Well, it's time on Car-Boyz to find out with another Top of the Pop style countdown. It's time for the 5 councils in the UK that takes the largest surplus from parking charges.
That's right, here we are at 5, the trendy North London borough that's home to Jeremy Corbyn and lots of other socialists who live in multi-million-pound houses. Yes, Islington rakes in almost £27 million in parking fines each year. Meanwhile, just ahead at 4 and staying in London, unsurprisingly, it's home to a very famous prison and also a council that's full of thieves. Wandsworth scoops up more than £28 million from parking fines. Halfway through the countdown of the most fleecing councils in the UK, and we're still in London. It's home to those nutty boys whose fans are definitely in no way racist. Madness. Yes, it's Camden, which squeezes 29 million quid out of motorists. Taking the silver medal this week, though, for gouging almost £40 million out of motorists is the borough where it's fur coat and no knickers. Excuse me. Home to the trendy Kings Road, it's Kensington and Chelsea that comes in at number 2. And finally, the council in England that robs the most people with parking fines is the home, not surprisingly, to the seat of power Parliament. It's Westminster, who last year robbed almost £70 million from the poor motorists. Nothing to do with upholding the law, though, is it? Nothing to do with upholding the law. Excuse me, I was having a bit of a coughing fit
You
during
need
that
some
one.
COVID vaccine.
I do. I have the Wu flu. Hang on. COVID gone. COVID
Let's
gone.
see if his cough disappears.
Yes, it has.
Fantastic.
I should stop doing crack cocaine before a show. Yes, nothing to do with upholding the law, is it? And encouraging people to get on public transport. Everything to do with revenue raising. Well done, local government. Along with your COVID-19 and your parking fines, you've killed the city centre. There you go. You're killing the city centre. You've got nobody in the shops because the shops aren't open. And when you do go to the shops, you get a massive parking fine. Thank you very much. There you go. Yeah.
I have seen where the place that I work, which was mentioned in the
Oh yes.
rundown, I have seen at 9:59 in the morning the traffic wardens ready to pounce for the 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. time slot with tickets.
That's
9:59, a minute before.
Where my children go to school, there are parking bays you can park in, but obviously a lot of people drive there. We have to drive because it's too far to walk. I think it's 4 miles to get to the school, so we have no choice but to drive. They've got parking charges down there. If you don't park in exactly the right place, you also have to pay to park outside the school. These guys, you're right, they're sitting there waiting to issue tickets.
Yeah.
It's revenue raising. It's private companies in the UK that are responsible for a lot of it. And the councils are making lots and lots of money. I mean, it's great because they are killing the life and soul in the centre of our cities because people are thinking, do you know what? I don't want to get a parking fine. I'm just going to order stuff on Amazon. I'm going to order stuff online and sod the lot of you.
So it's a vicious circle. So they're putting up the parking. They're enforcing the parking, but that means the high street, there's fewer people going, which means they put up the council rates, which means more of the shops close. So it just goes round and round in circles.
I would say a friend of mine's father ran a barber's in Catford for about 40 years. And just before COVID, he sold it. He owned the whole building. He sold the whole thing and he closed it down. He's like, I want to retire. I don't want to deal with it. And my friend was like, well, why don't you rent the shop out as a barber's? And he said, because it will go like this. Somebody will come along with a good idea. They'll start it. And the business rates will kill them. They'll do 6 months and go, I can't make this business work. They'll be open 7 days a week. They still won't be breaking any profit.
Yeah.
Watch the centre of our towns turn into housing. That's the way it's going to go. And it's quite sad. And it's there to blame. My hometown is ridiculous. My hometown, I hadn't really been out socially for about 15 years. And I went back up there 2 years ago, and all the places as a kid I remember parking are all gone. Even like strange Sunday nights at 7 o'clock. Well, you can park in the centre of town and go and get a beer. Nope, you can't park there now. Like, well, hang on, you could go around the back of the Marks and Spencer, and there was a disused car park, and nobody charged you on a Sunday. Oh no, you get a fine there now. And it's like it's a sleepy market town, and they're wondering why all the shops are empty because you can't drive there. I'd encourage people to walk. I think it's a good thing, but occasionally you can't walk, and occasionally you don't want to walk. You can't walk if you've got 2 kids who are under the age of 5. You can't walk if you've got an elderly relative with you that physically can't make a journey. There's no public transport, so it's not like you've got another option. So it's a bit like, okay, well, there you go. Vote not literally with your feet. And there you go, town centre dies off. Moving on, and Nissan has finally invented a chocolate radiator news.
Yay.
They're showcasing its latest concept vehicle, and it's gone off-piste with an electric camper designed for winter getaways. There you go. With chunky off-road tyres and an elevated ride height, a pair of spotlights for seeing through those dense snowstorms, this go-anywhere van is ideal for those who like to ski and snowboard adventures but are conscious about their carbon footprint. However, because the winter camper concept is based on Nissan's existing ENV200 Combi MPV, which has a driving range of just 124 miles on a single charge, British winter sports fans should not expect to make it to the Alps without having to stop a few times to replenish the batteries. I was going to say, if you live in London, you're not going to get to Scotland and ski in this, are you? It begs the question, are camper vans and their long distance demands ready for the switch to electric power? The Japanese brand says that while bracing hikes and fresh air leisure are currently off the agenda during the pandemic, the ENV200 winter camper looks forward to reconnecting with the the marvel of nature, and exploring the illusion marbles, if you buy one of these, and exploring the great outdoors again. The van sleeps 2 people with the rear bench folding down onto 1 double bed. There's also the extending front roof compartment for extra space. Once you've pulled over to your destination, it could also provide additional sleeping quarters with the addition of a second mattress. How cold is this thing going to be in winter? But the big issue is the range. 124 miles, a full charge from the wall takes 7.5 hours, and from a main socket it takes the best part of a day, 21 hours. What a waste of time without the right battery. See, and also how cold. I've been in these sorts of things in the summer, and you wake up in the morning going, bloody hell, it's bitter. What's this going to be like in the winter? I like this. I like this.
This picture.
Yeah, this one. Here we go. Do you know what she's saying? If we were on a beach in Benidorm, you might be getting some sex. That's what she's saying. But because we're in this fucking thing and you're heating up baked beans as opposed to asking me whether I would like a starter, then you're not getting any tonight, sunshine, in your horrible jumper. That's what she's saying.
She can't even bear to look at him.
Yeah, she is. She's like, really? An electric camper van? Yes, but I'm saving the environment. More beans. You fucker.
There's 2
I'm
things
glad I slept with your best mate.
Who drives a normal petrol-driven car.
Yeah. He took Tracy to Malaga last year. She came back with a clap. Go on, sorry.
Now, I was going to say 2 things. That's in snow. We already know that electric vehicles in snow aren't very good.
Yes.
In cold weather, because it would take more than the 21 hours to charge.
If you've ever had anything electric, like a camera or anything electric in cold, it starts to slow right down. And I would encourage you, before you buy one of these wonderful things, to go and have a look at the there's some great stuff online about how well Teslas are working in the north of America, in places like Michigan, and then further north into Canada, and they're not.
And the other thing is also, it's Nissan, which is part of Renault. Renault are infamous for producing vehicles that nobody really wants.
Yes, of course. Yes, you think Nissan is going to be good because it's Japanese, but they've been teamed up with Renault for so long. I wouldn't touch them with a barge pole, in the same way that if you are driving a Vauxhall in the UK, you are in bed with the Peugeot Citroën group, and it's not a comfortable bedfellow I would like. Well, not a reliable bedfellow anyway. Shall we have some classic car selection?
Yes,
the jazz band are getting ready. Here they go. They're in fine fettle this week.
Good stuff.
Yes, we found a new opium dealer for them, so they're very happy.
So they're sorted, yeah.
Yes, I had a shipment of Gaulois cigarettes and some black coffee. That's all they need, the jazz band, in the basement here on the show. It is time for the classic car selection. That's what that music means. It's where we take a diamond in the rough, a car that's been overlooked, a motor that's been left to rust in the weeds, and we give it a bit of care and attention. We present to you a vehicle that will be a future classic. It can be bought for pennies right now. A champagne lifestyle on a beer budget is what this feature's all about. This week, we head to the Far East and we discover a vehicle that's been keeping people ploughing through rough terrain for nigh on 40 years. And the reason, well, we had snow last week in London, and you don't see snow in London very often. And it got me thinking about 4x4s. Here is the car. Known in the rest of the world as the Mitsubishi Pajero, it was named Mitsubishi Shogun here in the UK. I don't think you could have had the Mitsubishi feudal lord who kills everyone as the name for the vehicle in Japan. The marketing team would have definitely had a few things to say about that. But you can trace this vehicle's roots all the way back to 1981, when it was launched on its home soil as Mitsubishi's rival to Toyota's Land Cruiser. It's been most of a life been an equal to that, if not a more down-to-earth version of the 4x4. The version we're focusing on is the biggest bang for your buck. It's the third generation, which is this chap, 1999 to 2007. which in all but a few electronic gadgets is basically the same car that's produced in Japan to this day. Now, here in the UK, back in the 1990s, the Mitsubishi Shogun was the ultimate must-have accessory for the country set. It was one of the few cars on the market that could pull a Palomino-filled horse box. I've just turned my camera off.
Hello.
I don't know why I did that. Oh, and covered the camera as well. Should we try that again? Yeah, so back in the 90s, the Mitsubishi Shogun was the jet set, the country set, all had these. They would pull a Palomino-filled horse box to little Petunia's gymkhana with room in the boot for all her tack, while making just the right statement about owning a car solely and specifically for the job. The Green Welly Brigade, as they were called, it was a symbol of membership for a time. As the years have rolled back, though, Shogun's appeal waned, but it never lost any of the ability to make it popular. To this day, it's still unstoppable. Huge off-road vehicle, very practical and impressively durable. It's just that the other cars came along that delivered all those abilities, but with way more comfort and luxury thrown in. Now, to be honest, this does drive like a tractor. It's very agricultural, but if you can cope with that, it's heck of a lot cheaper than a luxury SUV made by those such as Land Rover or Audi or VW. These days, the Shogun is driven by those who want to tow caravans. It's driven by those who want to tow trailers. Excellent builders' cars. And if you get the 7-seater with the 3-litre Warrior diesel engine, it's a fast runaround for the entire family and your dogs. And what to look out for? Well, try and get one that hasn't been used as a skip by your local builder for a start. Ignore the ones with poor interiors, ripped seats. Maybe also if you want to ignore the ones with tow bars, as you don't know what's been towing and what the damage underneath is. You can always fit a tow bar later on if you do need one. Beware of grey imports and right-hand drive Pajeros. Often they are stolen in another country. The Pajero is Europe's most stolen and most unrecovered vehicle.
Ooh.
So try and buy the Mitsubishi Shogun if you are in the UK. Reports of brake problems when towing. We've had short brake and pad life due to the movement of pads in the calipers. The rear drive shaft can become partly detached from the differential, allowing all the oil to drain out. Common faults due to a defective circlip design. The repair involves fitting modified drive shafts with a larger diameter circlip, which will prevent the problem happening again. How much should I spend? Well, we found, yep, this is the one, no, that's not the one. Oh, it must be the one. Yes, sorry, it is. A nice 2004 example, 53 plate, 100k on the clock, leather interior, 2 owners, full service history, lots of paperwork for a fiver under £3,000.
Ooh, nice.
Try buying a Land Cruiser for that price and that age. You are not going to be able to do it. And although it's not the most luxurious or the most well built, it's a solid car that gets the job done. The job being hauling you around and yours around through all sorts of terrain. They're never the most, they're never the most reliable Mitsubishi.
Yeah.
They're more reliable than BMW and VW and Audi, but they're not like up there with Honda and Toyota. But you can't get a Land Cruiser for £3,000, and look at that, it's minter. And if you want something for towing stuff, if you want to, I don't know, maybe you're going down fishing all the time, you're going down small roads, or you're really into surfing, and you want to go up on the beach, and you need a 4x4.
It'll take all that.
It'll take all that, and it'll keep doing. And every time you put the keys in it, it should hopefully start.
Pretty much.
That is the Classic Car of the Week. Classic Car Selection. If you want to get your car onto the Classic Car Selection, you can email the boys at car-boys@outlook.com. Facebook, car-boys at Car-Boys with 4 Zs. Twitter, car-boys at car_boys, always with a Z. Instagram, at car_boys with 3 Zs.
So now it's time to move on, isn't it?
It is. It's time. Hang on. I've got to get the right music. Well, we had 2 different. We could try. We had 2. We had this, and we have this. Which wasn't the one I was thinking of.
We had something quite good last week. I can't remember what it was.
Hang on. Ah, we had this. What does that mean, Simon? Oh,
It means Pick of the Week / Pick of the Pups. So it's time for one of the new features on the show, where we examine the terrible crimes committed against cars across the world, from putting a whale tail of a spoiler onto a 1994 Vauxhall Nova, or pasting over the rust with Bondo, even welding a baked bean tin onto your exhaust. Never done that. We basically find a car that's for sale across the world, a terrible car that dared to mount a pile of feces to be crowned glorious king of the hill. It's time for now on Car-Boyz for Pop of the Week or Turn of the Week, one or the other. There you go. This week we had an email from Alan in Kidderminster. He spotted this car sales website, not revealing which one. It's a 1997 Nissan Micra with 120,000 miles on the clock, with a whopping 120,000 miles on the clock. This car has a 1-litre engine. It's the Passion. How ironic that it's called the Passion.
yes. Yes.
Which is what they brand car when they're trying to shift them before they bring in a new model. But what is the description of this car?
The owner writes, sadly, selling this plucky little car, it's been part of the family for 6 years. Really great to drive, so nippy and cheeky, very economical to drive and insure. Both my kids learnt to drive in it. That bodes well, doesn't it? Never let me down and has driven every day. Had to sawn it last March due to a change in circs. Was garaged till Christmas, but can no longer keep it here now. MOT expired December. Had a new exhaust before it was taken off the road. Has a scrape to one side, which is what was like it when we got it. Other than that, it's in fair condition. Grey cloth interior, face-off stereo. So that's only going to be 20 years old. There's life left in this one yet. Too good to scrap. Blue, 4 owners, £250. This is a woman, isn't it? This is a lady selling this. She sounds very desperate. I like that. Both my kids learned to drive in it, so they've really fucked up the gearbox.
Exactly. The clutch is probably going to go. That scrape on the side, I would put down to one of the kids.
Yeah. And the fact it's got a flat tyre. You can't even be asked to replace the tyre. That's a flat.
I'm not sure about this. I'd thought the stereo, if it's one of the face-off stereos, is probably worth more than the 250.
I was going to say, yeah. Well, because it's a classic. I haven't seen a face-off. My dad has a face-off stereo in his 2004 Honda. That's the last time I've seen a face-off stereo. I think it's a Pioneer.
Yes.
And you take the little thing, put it in the box.
Put in the case, yeah.
And then he puts it straight in the glove box. And he doesn't lock it. So they're going to nick it and break in. They go, oh, well, thanks for that. He doesn't take it with him. Oh, I'll take this with me. Where is it? It's in the glove box. Yeah.
Oh, they were such a thing. Kids, if you're probably too young to remember these sorts of things, when now we've got stereos built into dashboards, there was a thing. There was a time when you actually had to just pop off the front, take that with you.
So it would always be a face-off stereo. Would always be a non-patent part. So a patent part. It wouldn't be by the manufacturer.
Yeah.
It'd be like someone by like Panasonic or
Sony,
Philips.
Pioneer.
Yeah, Pioneer, and you would fit it yourself. Goodman's, and it would sort of into the hole, and then you had these 2 steel bars when you fitted it that you pushed in, then you pulled out, you got rid of those steel bars, and you couldn't remove it then. So it was lodged in there, and then it had a faceplate that you pressed a button and the faceplate came off, so it was blank.
Yes.
But yeah, I then you put the faceplate into a box, and the box went into the glove box that you never locked.
I remember the time going to the pub. This was I'd say probably about 17, 18 years ago.
Yeah.
You would go to the pub and there was always someone who was probably about 21, 22, keys on the table, and a little black plastic
box
thing,
with the front of his stereo.
Yeah.
Yes, I think the last car I had it on was my Daihatsu had one. And my Daihatsu had one with a tape deck, and I didn't want the tape deck, so I took it out. And I just bought the same brand. I just bought a Pioneer because I knew it'd fit the same slot. Pop that in with a CD player, and it was the bee's knees. But this, honestly, I'm sorry. Well, I don't know who this lady. It's definitely a lady. Plucky little car.
Yes.
£250. It's the fact you haven't even. I mean, I wouldn't highlight the scrape, but that tyre looks flat as a bloody pancake.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's been off the road with no MOT. I would think. I think this is going to end up scrapped. What's it got on the clock?
You can get 250, 100,000 miles on the clock.
Yes, 120. Yeah. 23-year-old. Yeah, and it was that. It's the limited edition Nissan Micra Passion, which is, I think I remember in the 80s when they were getting, sorry, in the 90s when they were getting rid of the last of the Ford Escorts, they had the Ford Escort Pelican, and it had like maybe a detailed graphic on the side of a Pelican.
Yes.
That was it, just because they were trying to get rid of these cars.
I'm sensing that one of the features I might try and find for the quiz. I'm going to try and find the crappiest names.
Yes.
Of special editions.
Yes, special edition, because they were never special. The two types of special edition were.
They were based on the entry model, but they just threw in a few like a new stereo or something.
Well, when the car came out, you sometimes had it aligned with a certain brand that had. I think was there a Fiat Uno Quicksilver?
There was,
and there was a Fiat Panda Sisley. And there was I want to say Mitsubishi, the Mitsubishi Warrior. The 4x4 was also linked with Quicksilver, I think, because surfers used to buy them.
Yes. Yeah.
And then at the end of their lives, so that was at the beginning to promote the brand and make it sexy. And at the end, as you were saying, it was to try and get rid of all these cars that have been sitting in a car park at the car plant. Just to stick a new sticker on it, jazz it up a little bit, call it a special edition.
Cheap. Yeah.
My neighbour had a Seat Ibiza special called something like the Sunrise or something, with all this horrible frigging 90s primary coloured decal down the side. It was disgusting.
Yeah. I think that's going to be a feature somewhere.
I think it should be. So yeah, so go through why we would not want to buy this car, Simon. It's we've lost you. We've lost Simon. Hang on, do this again, because we just lost you there for a moment. Go ahead from the top.
I said ultimately it is a Nissan Micra. That's the first overall.
Yes. Well, you wouldn't want us to part with 250 of your hard-earned pounds.
It's in a wishy-washy colour.
Hey,
it's got a dent on it.
Turquoise.
It's 120,000 miles. It's 1 litre, so it's going to be asthmatic.
Yes.
I think it'd been quicker to just name you what was actually good about it. I don't think there is anything. No.
I think we can call this the turd of the week, the pup of the week, and as usual, if you've got a pup of the week you want to suggest, you can send it through to the usual address here at Car-Boyz.
Fantastic.
I hope she sells it though. If you are going to buy this, if you do see this online, if you're listening to this, get right to us if you do buy it. Or maybe you can find it online and you just want to go and have a look at it, see how badly it truly is, and then you could send us some pictures. We could get some interior pictures of this.
I was going to say they usually have awful interiors as well.
Yes. Yes. I've only driven one once. I hired one in Cyprus.
Yeah.
And it was the most asthmatic car I've ever driven. It was an auto. It was the slowest car I've ever driven. It just didn't do anything.
Was it auto or was it a CVT version of it? Because they did a CVT version of it as well.
It might have been. I had it for a day. It was very slow. I remember just going, well, we're going to get there. I was going up to the Troodos Mountains in Cyprus and it was like not liking hills. It was heavy and slow. And I was, why did I get an auto? I don't know why. I'll have an auto for a laugh. What a laugh driving around there. Time now for Lost Highways. Oh. Yay. Sergio Leone is rolling in his grave, as is Clint Eastwood, and he's not even dead.
I love that. That's so good.
There's nothing you love more than a panpipe.
Oh dear, that new music must mean it's time for our feature where listeners email us in to give us their favourite.
Yes.
Keep talking. I think I froze then again.
Yeah, you're okay. You're good. You're back with us. You're back with us.
It could be quite coastal road that leads down to the sea. Alternatively, it could be a straight 2-lane blacktop that leads to infinity and invites you to gun the pedal to the metal. Whatever your poison is, let us know your perfect driving road here on Car-Boyz. We just gave you all the details, which is Car-Boyz. There you go. It's all on the screen. First, in the Lost Highways, we have Jennifer in Slough, who says, "Dear
Slough.
Car-Boyz, I hope you're keeping well. Yes, we are. One of the most impressive roads that I've driven on is the Forks of the Credits. That's a bit of a mouthful saying. It could end up pretty badly. It's in Canada. The road is very scenic, curvy drive, located in the Caledon, in the regional municipality of Peel in the Greater Toronto area of Ontario, Canada. West from the road ON10 towards the Mississauga Road. I guess that's what it is.
Yes, that's about right.
The road is paved. The surface is excellent on the entire road. Was repaved in August 2009, so not that long ago. It's windy. It's a windy road with incredible views. One heck of a hairpin turn. Drive at moderate speed. You're not in a race, she says. The popularity of the road amongst enthusiastic drivers is also made it a favourite for the law enforcement. So be careful.
So
look at that.
How are they going to catch you though on those horses? Sorry,
The Mounties.
Yeah, the Mounties. How are the Mounties going to catch you on those horses there? Hey, you!
Very slowly.
Come back here, or I'll get my boot out. Slow down there. No need to go fast. Yeah, I mean, so it's Toronto. So you're in just north. Yeah. So is it Detroit on the other side of the Great Lakes?
Michigan, Lake Michigan.
Michigan. Yeah. So yeah, it looks like quite interesting road. I've never been to Canada. My wife's been quite a few times. She said the roads are very, very clean, very clear. So yeah, it looks like I fancy going out there. That sounds quite nice. Thank you very much for that, Jennifer. And then we move on to Oscar from San Sebastian in Spain. He writes in and says, "Hola, Car-Boyz. Hope you guys get out to the north of Spain this year for some sunshine. I would love to. It's probably not going to happen. While you're at it, come and enjoy a coastal drive and stunning mountains on the route from Santander to Gijon." Gijon? Santander, the place, not the bank. We have winding, romantic roads that snake close enough to the coast for you to stop for fresh seafood on the way. You'll adore driving this road in northern Spain that stretches 175 kilometers. It takes around 2 hours to drive. You can discover the magic of the region. Oh, Paul Daniels is there. You can take the Autovia A8, known as the Autovia del Cantabrico. The scenic highway passes Bilbao, Santander, Gijon on its way to Boamonde, or you can head for picturesque side roads like the journey from Santander to Gijon along the road N634, N621, N625, and back again on the N634 and the N632. Spectacular driving leads you from the shorelines to the gorges and the rugged mountains on the way to the dizzying Picos de Europa in Asturias, and finally the stretch route takes you back to the coast of the Cantabrian Sea. Ooh. Now, northern Spain, I've been to Barcelona, and so have you. Yes. Barcelona. Yeah. But Asturias is and Galicia is somewhere I'd always like to go. And I'm guessing that the mountains we are looking at here, is this the Pyrenees? I think they must be the Pyrenees. So it's sort of good mountain roads. There is, of course, isn't there a pilgrimage to the Postella de Santiago? So you walk across the north of Spain. I think at Santiago at the end, there's a church that you're supposed to. It was a bit like doing the Hajj in Saudi Arabia, or doing the pilgrimage across England to Canterbury, where Chaucer's tales came from. So it's like a beautiful part of the world. And I was going to go there last year, and then this sort of happened, and we couldn't go there. I was going to go to Asturias. I think I was going to go to Oviedo, and they do this amazing cheese out there called Cabrales, which is blue.
Do like cheese. Which
they take and they put into caves, wrap it in vine leaves. Caves are right by the ocean, and so it gets all the minerals from the ocean in these caves and through the vine leaves, and the cheese is amazing. And they drink cider. hard cider, and they have this cheese. And yes, Asturias and Galicia, I really want to go there. So yeah, that could be. Yeah, I don't think there's any public transport up there either. So I think you've got to hire a car. And if you go in the summer, so it's not like southern Spain. It's none of that. You're not in Andalusia. It's it's much more mountainous, much more northern European. I think the people are much more sort of a bit mountain folk, a bit grumpy, but it's a very different place to go. So that sounds cool. Yes, thank you for those two driving roads. Usual address if you want to get your driving roads, and we promise to play the music with the panpipes, which you love. I think
love that. That's my new favourite thing.
Yes. And yes, time now on the show to delve into the bulging sack that has become known as the mailbag. If I can actually find, there's too much music on my on. Ah, here you go. Oh, what's Sadiq Khan doing here? Hello, very nice to see you, Mayor. There you go.
Yes, as letters. Sandra in Epping, not too far away from me, says, "Hello, Car-Boyz. Hope you're all good." Yes, we are. We are great here in Essex.
Of course, you're great. Always great.
She's cushy.
A little bit woo, a little bit woo, a little bit woo, a little bit woo.
She says she has her eye on a car at her local garage, a 2008 Renault Twingo.
Don't steal it.
It's had 2 owners, full service history, 61,000 miles on the clock, manual gearbox, and a 1.2 litre engine. Looks very clean. What do you think? £1,250. I did like those Twingos. They are quite quirky. They're not quite as big as a Clio.
No.
They are quirky.
250. What can you buy for £1,250? Actually, you could buy 5 Nissan Micra Passions, and all 5 of them wouldn't work. But this is a 12-year-old car. The one in the 90s was very trendy. My wife hated the original Twingo.
The frog-eyed one.
Yeah, and in fact, she's from Stratford-upon-Avon, and the importer of that car was based in Stratford-upon-Avon. They were never exported here, and I used to laugh. She's going, I hate it. It's like an irrational hatred of a car. But these ones aren't as cutesy or as trendy. But £1,250 on a car that's 61 on the clock. It's only had a couple of owners. It's got a manual gearbox. The 2.1 litre engine should be 1.2. Sorry, should be relatively. It's not going to be reliable as a Japanese car, but it's not going to be as expensive to buy. And if it's only for pootling around town, why not?
Yeah.
These aren't reliable cars. Renaults are not reliable cars, but if you're going to use this for shopping trips and popping around to see people, £1,250. One thing to make sure the cam belt's been done at 61,000. Well, what do you think? Why not? I can't see anything wrong with that.
It's well, that's the thing. If it goes wrong, it might be expensive to fix, but £1,200, can't argue with that.
No. Take a risk. Take a risk on that, and certainly don't take a risk on that.
Same company now. Same company.
Yeah, same car. So buyer beware. Alfie in Manchester says, "Hello, Car-Boyz. Hope you're both in fine fettle. He's wondering about fixing winter tyres for crossing the. Oh no, it's not the. I thought it was Pyrenees. The Pennines to see his family in Halifax. Can it be done easily? What's the cost? What's it worth?" He drives. I don't know why I've turned him into Liam Gallagher. Hey, what's it worth? What's it worth? Why are you doing that? He drives a 2009 front wheel Passat. Yeah. What would you think? So what should he check? He was thinking, should I get winter tyres?
Depends how good your normal tyres are. I don't know. I've never changed my tyres. I've never gone for winter tyres.
I've never done it. I spoke to my tyre guy this week because I had a flat tyre, and I took it over to see him, and we managed to come to a deal, and he did put a new tyre on me, and I talked about winter tyres to him, and he said what he does is what I would advise Alfie Manchester to do, is not turn into Liam Gallagher. It's to,
Christian, I thought you were.
so it's, hey, all right, welcome to the show. Terry Christian here on the word. Join me later on the show. Anybody under the age of 40 is going, who is that? Who's Terry Christian? And anybody outside the UK hasn't got a clue anyway. But yeah, great. Coming up later, I'll be interviewing Tupac Shakur. I wouldn't buy a set of tyres to fit my current wheels. The problem is it's not going to be really bad getting across the Pennines, but there's going to be loads and loads of potholes. So I think you can easily cross the Pennines in winter without needing winter tyres. But what you're probably going to end up doing is, if he's doing it regularly, is chipping the heck out of his alloy wheels and damaging the current tyres on there. So my tyre guy has two sets of wheels.
Yeah.
So he has a set for winter, which are chipped, that cost him 250 quid on an auction website. And he's got his really nice set that he puts on in April, and he drives all the way through to November. And then he gets his crap set out for winter.
Yeah.
Which, if you've got the room to do that, I mean, you could. I think this is the sort of thing I found on site. It chipped old VW Passat wheels, including the tyres, for 250 quid.
The thing is, if it was that snowy and that cold, you wouldn't go for alloy wheels anyway, because
No.
they would crack in cold temperatures. So you just get a set of steel wheels, stick a set of winter tyres on.
Yeah. So I would, if you're going to do this regularly, go onto an auction website, pick up a second-hand wheel for less than £200, and then fit winter tyres to them. Put your own alloys, the decent ones, if they're in good nick, into storage, and then just have fun and don't care and curb it. And then summer comes along, put my nice new ones on, my diamond cut ones back on, and put those ones away. It's a lot of hassle, but if he is serious about, I'm going to be going across I've driven the Pennines. It's not a horrendous place to cross over. It's very high. It's the spine of England, but you're going to get potholes. You're going to get all sorts of things causing you sort of damage to your tyres and general wear and tear. So in the winter, why not do that?
Or for 250 quid, buy them.
Exactly. Oh, yes, exactly. So what you could do is then you'd have to live at it, because it'd obviously break down on the Pennines, and I'm not sure that would be a great thing to live in. But that or that. I know which one I'll be spending my money on.
We're in Florida now.
Oh, nice.
With Carlos, who's got a problem with his 1967 Chevy Impala SS, the SS. When it's hot, which is often in Florida, it won't start. It's a really intermittent problem. Sometimes you leave it for an hour and it will not then start. That's not good. What do you need? A hammer? My advice is get a hammer, just whack. A
hammer, some of that start spray that you can spray into the air intake. I mean,
do they even still sell that?
I think so. I think they do online. That's the stuff to you spray it in, don't you? Which I used to have to do on my old Ford Escort. Either that, or I used to put a blanket over it overnight, like I put it to bed, and then put the bonnet down, and then put a note on the car saying, "Make sure you remove the blanket." Otherwise, I'll be driving down the road and so, what's that smell of burning? Yes, so that was a while ago. So that's 16 years ago I had that car. So maybe they don't sell it anymore. That is the car. So this is a 53-year-old Chevy Impala SS. This is not, surprisingly, a popular car on this side of the Atlantic, more's the pity. So I had to look this one up. We reckon that your starter motor is no good. According to my research, there are lots of cheap aftermarket starter motors that are pretty rubbish. Everybody advises you buy an AC Delco remanufactured starter motor. It's going to be high in cost, but your starter problems should be over. Also ensure that it's insulated from the engine properly. Another possibility is the carb is bad. If the carb leaks down into the intake and cylinders, it will wash away any lubricant onto the cylinder walls and cause a lot of drag to occur. This is usually indicated but in a slow cranking when the starter's first engaged. Pull the dipstick, smell for gas. We think it, though, is the starter motor. I would possibly just pull the dipstick, smell for gas. If that's not there, I think I'd go and get a new starter motor. But bearing in mind, it's a 53-year-old car, so
And
it's
what a
going to
car.
give you. It's a beautiful car, isn't it? Especially down in Florida.
Mm.
Finally, Tommy in Belfast. I don't know why I'm going to give Tommy in Belfast a Manchester accent as well. Joining me here on the word Primal Scream. We got Tommy in Belfast, Northern Ireland. He's got a family of 4, 2 kids, aged 5 and 8. He's thinking of travelling to Devon this summer. Wow, that's a heck of a long journey. He's wondering about a camper van. He's got £10,000. Is Bendy Bully safe?
I'm thinking of the Nissan van you showed earlier.
Yeah, the Bendy Bully's safe. The Nissan Micra's safe. Don't worry about that. He's got £10,000 and a space to park it on his large driveway. Lucky man. So he thinks he could also use it to travel to see relatives in Cork. So it may come in useful. The only issue is that it would occasionally be used to ferry around the family to and from school and the supermarket. So let's take the first thing. He's going to go to Devon. So I assume he's going to go from Belfast to Stranraer. And then drive all the way from Stranraer in Scotland to Devon. Okay, that's.
Could you go through Liverpool? Would that be?
You
quicker?
could go. Yeah. I don't know how fast the ferry is to Liverpool. It was. I've done Stranraer 2 or 3 times, and it's pretty fast, but not that fast because it's almost the closest point.
Yeah.
Maybe go for Liverpool, but this is still a lot. You're going to get to Liverpool and go, okay, now to Devon. Here comes 550 miles. Okay, so I think we've got to rule out. I would certainly rule out any classic camper vans because you're talking about mileage here.
Reliable, yeah.
But he says I want it to use it to go to ferry a family around to and from school and the supermarket as well. So it's basically, I think we're going to need to look at a day van. Space for 4. Maybe try buy a camper with a tent on the side, as opposed to getting everybody inside this. This is slim pickings. I went through this and thought, okay, the 2 brands that stand out: VW, firstly. This is the sort of thing. Transporter, so it's a VW Transporter, I think T4 conversion, and then you can buy them with these massive tents on the side. So when that's all finished, it's just a VW van, and you don't have to have that tent in there all the time. You can get rid of that and then use it Monday to Friday to go to the supermarket. So that's the other one.
As big as one of those like Nissan huts.
It is, isn't it? And I don't know. There seems to be more on this side as well. There's a little bit more here as well. Great, reliable, fast. These things, those VW vans, the transporters are very, very fast. Also, the only other thing we could find was the Mazda Bongo. Reliable, but very slow. And by slow, I mean it is the slow. I think the 0 to 60 is something like 25 seconds. They are super slow.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm not sure Yeah, you can see there's that. I would go for the VW.
Yeah.
The transporter, and then just buy those tents, and bear in mind that you're not going to get everything to do. You've given us a lot of things here to think about, and I don't think, but that's the best of both worlds. And have a seriously good think about how long that journey is. You might want to get a little Airbnb or something on the way down. If you're going to go Scotland to Devon, it could be, especially after a lovely ferry journey across the Irish Sea. And I did use sarcasm there. I've done it once, and I think they were playing a Pink Panther movie on the ferry. I seem to have that's how long ago it was. It's and I mean the original Pink Panther with what's his name, Peter Sellers. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't 1968. I was making this journey. It was slightly later than that, but not much later. So yes, get your letters. What's the? I'll give you the email address. Actually, there you go. There's all the email addresses. Car-Boyz@outlook.com. Car-Boyz at Car-Boyz with 4 Z's for the Facebook. Car-Boyz at Car_Boys with a Z. Twitter, Instagram at Car_Boys with 3 Z's. I have got far too much music on my phone, and I'm trying to find the theme tune too. It is in here somewhere. I don't know where it is. We've got a theme tune.
I'd happily accept the panpipes.
You want the panpipes back again? No,
I love that.
I'm now singing Halloween. Here we go. There we go. Time now for our quiz.
Time for the big quiz this week.
Yes.
And yes, during lockdown here in the UK, one of the things that we can't do is go to the pub.
The pub. Miss the pub.
So here on Car-Boyz, we've decided to bring the pub to you. Not that we have a license to sell alcohol.
No.
But we have the Car-Boyz general knowledge pub quiz. General knowledge. Our contestant this week is made his way all the way to the bar from southwest London. It's Richard. Are you feeling good? You feeling COVID?
I'm feeling good. I was actually thinking the pub opposite me, I think, has secret lock-ins on a Saturday night. I did notice last night. It's not this. It's a very, very horrible pub. That's why I never go in it. But it is. I won't give out my location because they might be. Yeah. I don't want to get them in trouble. But I'm pretty sure they're having lock-ins.
Like that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's this. I'm on my back step in my house at sort of 12:30, having a cheeky cigar and a little whiskey, and I can hear see you, Frank, see you, Terry. I was like, yeah, you've just been in there, haven't you? Curtains drawn.
Brilliant. Oh dear. So that's what we're going to do. There's nothing to be scared of in this quiz. 10 general questions, choices of A or B, and this week you're playing for a picture of, and they're usually yellow, a Reliant Robin.
Oh, excellent. Oh, and look at that. It's in daisy yellow, sunshine yellow. Lovely Reliant Robin. If I put that on my wall, will it also make all my other cars turn into three-wheelers?
Quite possibly. I like the way they park this one, though. Look at that.
Oh, does it look? Is it on the edge of a canal? Are they about to push it in? Is there a body in the back?
And because weren't they made of fiberglass, so won't they float as well?
Oh, they would actually. The two things I know about Robin Reliance, the first thing is because they're made of fiberglass. If you crash that into a wall, the engine comes through and cuts your legs off.
Oh.
Yeah, so slightly worse than a misfunctioning airbag. Yeah. Secondly, because they were too light in the back, you had to put a couple of bags of cement in the boot always to drive it. Otherwise, the whole thing would tip over.
As often happened, I think, in Mr. Bean, if I'm not mistaken. He would come around the corner and it'd knock the Robin over.
That's right. I thought he drove a Mini, or did he originally?
He drove a Mini, but it was always his nemesis that was driving the Robin.
He'd one-upped him, and then, of course, became Mayor of London. There he is, exactly. Sadiq Khan. Thank you, Sadiq.
Okay, so eyes down, look in. Question number 1. The world record. There he is.
This way for the exit. Bye-bye. Look, as if separated by births. Yeah.
Question number 1. The world record for removing and replacing a car engine was achieved in 1985 by the British Royal Marines.
Oh, okay.
How quickly were they able to do it? Was it A, 42 seconds, or B, 1 minute 32?
To remove so were they replacing the engine?
They replaced the engine, so they've got the old CH engines. So
it's a B-Reg Escort, isn't it? Yeah.
It is, yeah.
And put another, I'm going to say 132. Come on.
No, it wasn't. It's 42 seconds.
42 seconds? Who'd have thunk it? Good grief.
British Royal Marines, there you go. Replace the engine, the whole engine, with a new one in 42 seconds. I'm not sure how
this would sort of suggest that the British automotive industry would be the best in the world. But since we don't have an automotive industry anymore, what would it take them, the 400 workers at Rover to do that? 1 hour 56. The Royal Marines do it in 42 seconds.
I think there is a video of this as well, so I will.
Wow, yeah, please do. That's insane.
Page later on. So not off to a good start there, but it was a B-Reg Escort.
Oh, wow.
Okay, question number 2. The man who invented cruise control was called Ralph Titor. Here's a picture of him.
Hello. Yes, was that taken at his trial in Munich?
It quite possibly was. What was unusual about him? Was he A, did he only have one arm, or B, he was blind?
Oh, see, he was a member of the SS during the occupation of Poland. Blind or one arm? I'm going to go. Well, it would one arm. I'm thinking one arm because obviously cruise control would be helpful with that. No, one arm.
No, he was blind.
He was blind. Oh, well,
Apparently-
he doesn't look blind. He's not Stevie Wonder blind, is he?
He
I mean, he
doesn't
hasn't
know
got.
that. Does he? It's like- But apparently his lawyer was a bad driver, so he invented cruise control so that his lawyer could drive properly without having to.
He does look like a member of the SS, though, doesn't he? He looks very strict.
Yes.
Yes, all of them had to
Okay.
die.
I'm
And
disappointed.
I was thinking, I don't believe it's 42 seconds because I had on the old Escort that you just showed, right?
Yes.
I had one of those. I had a
Yeah.
G-Reg one. And it took me about 2 hours to put a new bulb just in the front headlight. To take the front headlight was all sorts of machinations of taking off bits of front grille, to take the headlight assembly to bits, to put the new bulb in, to put the new headlight back.
Yeah.
Honestly, two and a half
I'll
hours.
post this, but there are a team of Royal Marines as well.
Yes,
so-
the team. It wasn't just me and my front yard.
Oh, so we're not doing it. I thought you'd be well on this.
Terrible so far. Yes, come on, we've got to do better.
Okay, so you've got to get this one.
Yeah.
Question number 3. What is the most frequently stolen car in the United States? Is it A, the Honda Accord, or B, the Mini?
Well, the Honda Accord is, I think, the most popular
Ooh.
sold car in the United States.
Ooh.
So would that suggest it would be also the most popular stolen car? So let's go for Honda Accord.
It is the Honda Accord. Yes, indeed.
I think it's been the most popular car in the States for 20 years, if not longer. I think it's
Yeah.
2001. That's the most popular car every year because it works. This
Yeah.
is why I drive one. It's not the most exciting car in the world, but it works. And you get 30-year-old versions of them that work and they don't break down. And they're obviously very easy to steal.
Apparently so, but
Yes.
yes, that was correct. 1 out of 3 so far. Question number 4.
Okay.
I've had to print this picture out.
Okay, good.
We drive on the correct side of the road, which is
Obey the rule of Her Majesty the Queen.
there. You go. There she is. There.
God bless you, Mum, and all who's sailing you.
What percentage of the world's population?
Sorry.
What percentage of the world's population observe the Queen?
What
Is it
percent? Go on.
35% who
Yes.
drive on the left, or B,
Ah.
45% who drive on the left?
Or B.
45%.
Very close. Look, she's just about to say, Andrew was not guilty. He likes pizza and doesn't sweat. 35 or 45. Okay, so there's us. There's Australia. I'm going to do a quick us. Australia. Ooh. India.
Oh, brilliant.
Malaysia. Thailand. Burma.
But then there's like everyone else.
Yeah, but then there's isn't India is the most populous democracy in the world. Then there's sub-Saharan Africa. So the whole of the Americas is going to be the wrong way round.
Yes.
Most of Europe is.
Yes.
Russia is. China is.
Therefore,
I think it's.
35%.
I'd say 35%.
Absolutely right. It is. The 35% obeying.
God bless you, Your Majesty, and all who sail in her.
Question number 5. Still on percentages.
Yes.
On average, so how long on average does a car spend in its lifetime
Yes.
parked?
Ooh.
Is it A, 90% or B, 95%?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you're right. It is about that. It really does. Most of the time they just sit there and rot,
Yeah.
don't they? And what's the sound of my car depreciating? Let's go for 95%.
Absolutely right. Correct.
Hey, I thought so.
95% of the-
How
you're
frightening. How frightening.
Absolutely.
So in theory, car sharing would make sense. The problem is people are horrible and dirty and don't respect each other. So it's unworkable. It would be like
Absolutely.
it would be
Yeah.
like getting on a bus, and you know what a horrible experience it is getting on a bus. Before COVID, you wanted to put a hazmat suit on before you got on a
Anyway,
bus.
yeah.
But to say car hiring with the crap that, I mean, my sister's car, and she works for Jaguar Land Rover. The inside of her car is like somebody's just got a bin, literally got a bin out of a kitchen and done this and ground it in, some clothes, books everywhere, nice layer of dust. You go, who's it? What's this? Disgusting. And I bet you you've had the odd hire car. You don't treat hire cars like you treat your own car, do you? Just go, hire car, let's go really fast. Hire car. Oh, I've curbed it. Never mind.
Yeah, someone else will clean it.
Yeah.
Anyway, well done. Yeah, 95% of the time the car is spent parked up. So well done. Question number 6. Thinking back to earlier in the show, face-off radios, in 2011, what was the last car to be offered with a cassette deck as an option?
Go on.
Was it A, the Ford Crown Victoria, or B, the Ford Mondeo? A, Ford Crown Victoria, or B, the Ford Mondeo?
I think it's Mondeo.
Oh no!
Was it the Crown Vic?
It was the Crown Victoria, last car to be offered with a cassette deck.
2011.
Yes.
I think that was the year I got my first iPhone, and that was quite late. That was my first smartphone. Was 2011. I really liked the anonymity of a flip phone, and then I was just like, I'm just going to get a smartphone because everybody else has got one, and it was like a revelation. But I can remember my other half, when we lived abroad, coming back to the UK in about 2003, and she had one of the last Sony Walkman.
Oh, yeah.
And it was white. And it was really thin with this sort of blue marking. And everybody, iPods had just started, and she did get an. But she said she was on the tube in London, and she got this white thing out that did look like an iPod. Opened it up, turned the tape around, put it back in, and then played it. And there was this girl opposite, like looking at her like this. What the fuck? It was like she'd got a gramophone. I hope everybody doesn't mind me playing this record in this tube carriage. Wow, 2011.
2011.
Wow.
Ford Crown Victoria.
Although, on that point, how many cars are still being released with standard AM, FM radios? I mean, I know
that's interesting.
If you live in, say, Europe, remoter parts of Europe, America, South America, there is no digital radio service. But here in the UK, why should any new car come off the production line that hasn't got a DAB radio? I can buy a DAB radio for my house for about 20 quid. I think my father-in-law's got a portable one that cost him a tenner, so he can listen to the football on it.
That's really funny because I always thought I'd get a car with a DAB radio because you go, there's DAB radio. And now I have a DAB radio. I don't actually use it because I use my iPod.
Yeah, I was going to say I've got a DAB radio in my car and I never have it on. I listen to stuff on my phone. I listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
Great ones like this. Subscribe now and with panpipe music. I always listen to panpipe music.
Okay, question number 7. In the film Back to the Future, the time machine was a DeLorean GMC-12. But what domestic appliance was originally meant to be used until the director was afraid that children could get trapped inside, imitating the film? Was it A washing machine, or B, a fridge?
I think it was a washing machine, wasn't it? No. Was it a fridge?
It was a fridge. Yes. Originally, the time machine was going to be a fridge, but then he was so scared of it that they decided that they would have the DeLorean.
Well, I think this comes back. I did ask my father about this because I've never had a fridge that you couldn't open from the inside. But apparently fridges used to have a lock in the 50s and 60s on the door. So you couldn't open it from the inside. So what used to happen is kids would be playing on a waste ground. I know it is. I know it's not funny, but the kids would be playing on waste ground. They'd find a fridge. And what's the first thing you want to do? Get inside it. They'd get inside it. The thing would lock. And then they would suffocate. That's what you get when you tune into this show. You get jokes and people laughing about children suffocating in the 1960s in old disused fridges.
Not laughing at all.
Don't forget to subscribe and click like.
Serious face now. Serious face. Back to the quiz.
Serious-
Back to the quiz.
Yes, fridge.
Question number 8. Back to percentage. What percentage of cars in the USA are manual transmission? Is it A, 75% or
Yes.
B, 95%?
Oh, it's 75%. It's 75%.
75% or
75
95%?
75%.
No, it's 95% of cars in America.
Have
Oh, sorry.
manual. Come on. Hang on, have you asked
no,
this
sorry.
right?
I got it wrong. What auto?
Oh, 95%.
Yes,
95%.
Yeah, you were right.
There you go. Thank you. No, I actually thought 75%. Is anybody American can do a stick shift?
If you're American, let us know if you can.
Yeah, please write to us and tell us if you too can operate a stick shift, because most of you can't. My sister-in-law's just passed in Australia and just did an auto. Just like my brother was like, I'm never going to buy another stick shift. And I was like, yeah, but
I get it. I get because it's open road and there's not much there, and you just have to cruise. I get that.
it limits you. It's. I never drove an auto till I was well into my 30s, and I got a job driving. I was driving some vans for a few weeks, and they said, "Oh, you can take the one at the end." And I went to the one at the end, and the bloody thing was an auto. And I phoned my dad and went, "How the hell? I've never driven an auto." So he said, "Okay, take your left foot and tuck it under the seat, right? Because every time you're going to come up to a set of lights, you're going to go for the clutch." Yeah. And you're not going to be the clutch, it's going to be the brake, and you're going to whack on the anchors. Well, that worked for a while, and I was delivering some stuff, and I remember whacking on the anchors and just hearing everything in the back of the van go click, 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 click. I went, "Oh, sorry." Yeah. So that does. I think it limits you unless if you don't know how to drive a manual. And a manual is fun. Although when I went back to manual after having an auto for a while, I did ride the clutch like an SOB.
And also, if you didn't get your delivery, that's probably because Rich broke all.
Sorry about that. Sorry about your delivery. You broken China.
Two more to go.
Okay.
It's still in play.
Is it canary yellow?
Canary yellow, absolutely.
I love it.
Question number 9.
Turning into Frank Sidebottom. Go on.
So, he was on the word as well, wasn't he?
I think he was. Wasn't it Terry Christian in a mask? You ever noticed that? You never saw either of them in the room at the same time. All right, Terry.
Question number 9. Seatbelts were invented by what car manufacturer? Was it A, Volvo, or B, Dodge?
Oh, Dodge. There you go. That's the yellow driver of the yellow Reliant Robin.
Was it Volvo or was it Dodge?
It's Volvo.
Was Volvo.
Now I'm thinking of the Crash Test Dummies song.
Volvo who are credited with creating the seatbelt, also didn't patent the invention, so it could be used for safety purposes by other car manufacturers.
I've got a feeling that Dodge were the company that in the centre of the steering wheel in the 1950s had like an icon that was a spike that stuck out. And this is how Sammy Davis Jr. lost his eye.
Oh, no.
Who could be a rainbow? Ow! The Candyman can.
Oh, dear.
Oh, he's frozen again.
I've won this. Question number 10. The Mini.
Yes.
Was first manufactured to make more room inside a car by doing what? Did it A, have cutaway seats, or B, did they turn the engine sideways?
They turned the engine sideways.
Ding is the right answer. They turned it so you had a transverse engine.
Indeed, which meant every time you went, the battery had to sit behind you in the boot.
Yeah.
But what you could do, and it's what my mate did, is you could then have a stereo CD player on the back parcel shelf connected to the battery. We did that a lot. But every time, because of the position of the engine in the old Mini, the first Mini, if you went over water, it would sometimes conk out. Because the plugs were positioned really the way they from that to that meant it got so you'd often conk out in them as well.
And that's when you need all that spray to damp stuff.
Yeah, like the tin of that. That'll get it going in Florida.
So there you go. Yes, you have. You have won the
Oh.
picture. That's going to be winging your way.
Oh, I don't know
very
what to
soon.
say. I'd just like to thank my family and my friends. Oh, isn't it fantastic? I'll have something to light the fire. Is it? I reckon it's about to be pushed into a reservoir
It looks like that, doesn't
to
it?
get rid of the bloodstains. Some coal miner's wife is tied up in the back. Oh, it's been a fun show, hasn't it? Talking about kids dying in fridges and women being beaten up and left in the back of Robin Reliance.
I'm a bit worried. Is the mirror supposed to be like that?
Oh yes, it does look. Oh yeah, it does look like it's been knocked. But also the panel gap, that door looks slightly off as well. That door looks like it's dropped.
Which would you have, that or the Nissan Micra for 200?
Hang on a second. Hang on. Yeah, look, I'm definitely going with the. If the Nissan Micra was in better condition, it would be the Nissan Micra every day. But to be honest, I think if I was after a fun car, I'm going to go for the Reliant Robin. I think that's a much
Look
funner
at the
car.
spotlights. Look how
Oh,
sporty
it's
that is.
fantastic, and mind you, it doesn't have the benefit of this beautiful side edition, if I can find it, to the Mazda, which is this lovely scrape and flat tire, which they actually put into the advert. I think it is definitely a lady that was selling that. Thank you very much for tuning into the show. That's it from us this week. We will be back hopefully next week with another hour and a bit of motoring entertainment. Stay safe, stay happy, go to the pub, don't go to the pub, go out, don't go out, all the usual bits and pieces. That's it from Car-Boyz. We will join you next time.